Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to talk about the extreme drought resistance of the money plant. It's also known as Jade plant, and the Latin name is Crassula Ovata. So basically this one here I've grown from a cutting. You can see it's a beautiful large plant now. It's 3 years old. It's been growing really fast, really well. I've been keeping it in fairly large pots. It's now in a smaller pot, but before that it was in quite large pots. Been growing nice and fast, lots of feed, lots of water, lots of sunshine, and as you can see it's put on a huge amount of growth in 3 years. And interestingly, these are actually cuttings from the same batch. So this plant was actually taken from this tray of cuttings here, and you can see the size difference. It's absolutely huge. And the reason for that is the way I've been looking after them. So these cuttings, what I've been doing is I haven't been watering them much, keeping them away from the sun, just giving them enough sunlight to grow, but only just, and not feeding them. Whereas this has had lots of sun, lots of water, and lots of feed. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd test the extremes of this plant, see how little water the money plant can survive, can have and still survive. So what I have done is, it's now September, and these money plants here haven't actually been watered for well over 6 months. I think it was almost January, February since I last watered these, and it's now September, so possibly 9 months, 8 or 9 months, and I haven't had a drop of water yet. Most of them are still alive, so it's quite amazing how drought resistant it can be. Now these were in a shady area, they didn't have any direct sunlight, so that's probably helped them to not dry out faster. If these were outside in a really hot climate and a lot of sunshine, maybe only a few months they'd survive, but without the sunshine, the temperature was only about 20 degrees, quite steady, bit cooler in winter, maybe 17, maximum maybe 24, 25, so quite stable, cool temperatures. As you can see, they've all survived pretty much. What has happened though is all the leaves have gone incredibly thin. You can see there's no thickness to them anymore, so the leaves don't have any water, they've dried out. So what seems to have happened is first of all, the leaves start shriveling up, so the leaves go flat and they use up all the water in the leaves. Once that's happened, the lower leaves fall off. You can see on this one here, there's some old ones that have died off. So obviously, the more leaves the plant has, the more water it can lose. So it kills off the oldest leaves, takes all the water out of those leaves until they're just dry husks like this. And then they just get aborted and dropped. And then it keeps going up until you have something like this, where you've only got 1 or 2 leaves left, and eventually it loses all the leaves like this, and it's just a stem. But the stem's still alive. Now it's reduced the surface area by dropping all its leaves, so it doesn't lose as much water through evaporation, but it's still staying alive. There's still moisture in the trunk that it's keeping itself alive with. So that seems to be the process they go through. Other ones like this one here started growing roots. I think there might have been maybe a bit of condensation or something on the plastic, and it's grown roots to try and get any moisture it can. But it's really remarkable how these plants, I mean, okay, they haven't really grown at all. They've only put on a very small amount of growth, maybe some little leaves here and there. But what they've done is basically go in suspended animation. They haven't grown, haven't really been using their energy reserves. They've just been hunkering down, conserving all their water, and they've survived 9 months. Now they probably would last another 2 or 3 months, some of these plants, but I don't want them to lose all their leaves, and even if they do last 2 or 3 months, a lot of these other ones will die. I think a lot of them on the verge of death, especially these two here, which have lost all their leaves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start watering them, give them a bit of feed, put them on the sunny windowsill, just get them a bit more energy back, let all the leaves swell up, and then I'll put them somewhere dark and dry again to keep them at a small size and see how they do. So there we are. As I said before, these are exactly the same age as this large one here. They just haven't had as much resources of water and light and feed. So there you are, that's the money plant, and you can really see the difference with the growth. So if you have a money plant and you're wondering why it's not growing at all, maybe you're treating it as a cacti, barely watering it at all, that's probably what's happening. They're just like these, they're just not growing, don't have the resources to grow. Whereas if you give them as much light as possible, a decent amount of warmth, lots of water in the summertime, but you have to make sure that the compost does dry out in between waterings, otherwise it can be prone to root rot, and also lots of feed in the summer as well. Now in winter time I don't give this much feed or anything, because it gets very dark here in Scotland, so have the sunlight to grow, so I actually keep this very dry in winter. But for the rest of the year, I give it lots of water and it grows nice and fast. So there we are, that's the money plant, and as I said, I'm quite amazed that this can last about 8 or 9 months without a single drop of water.